Good day. It's aging maven aficionado Amy K. Gaskin on Ask Amy About Aging. In this episode, I am talking with Anthony Ford of How's Grandma. How are you doing today, Anthony?
Oh, I'm very good, and it's lovely to be speaking with you again, Amy.
Wonderful to talk about you. We're talking today about the Care Bidet and how it can be used to prevent and reduce hospital readmissions. So, Anthony, why don't you tell us a little bit about how you got into senior care, and we'll go from there.
Well, I got into senior care basically unexpectedly. It was unplanned. It was when I became guardian of my own mother. She had Alzheimer's. And I was looking around and thinking, what is the best care environment? I'm now responsible essentially for my mother, just as my mother was when I was a child. She was responsible for me.
Right.
It felt good to be paying her back in this way and in a positive manner. And basically, I was looking around for care, and I decided that I wanted to keep her in the home environment, but I knew I couldn't do everything myself. I had a full-time job. So I started talking to other home care agencies, and I just didn't get that warm, fuzzy feeling.
Right.
The feeling that, yes, they would treat my mother as a human being, even though she was, the disease was taking a toll on her, whole being, really.
Right.
And but I wanted someone with that personal touch. I thought, well, you know what? I think I can supply the personal touch to my mother in that way.
Right.
So I basically set up care for my own mother. I hired caregivers directly, proper payroll, workers' comp, all the right things. I set up a company to do it, but it was just intended for my mother. That was possibly the biggest underestimation I made, because I soon discovered that was really potentially a 24/7 thing. And I was doing a full-time job at the time. And,
Right.
it's a similar situation to a lot of people. And so I made a decision. I was going to give up my job, and I was going to devote my time to my care of my mother. And then, but if I was going to do that, I was going to do it for other people's mothers and fathers as well. So I turned it into my care agency, which, I get great pleasure and satisfaction out of looking after other people's mothers and fathers now that my mother is no longer with me.
Mm-hmm.
It's a fantastic feeling to carry on that and to apply those same standards that I applied to my mother. So that's my origin story, if you like. It's true. It's real. It means a lot to me. And I think hopefully that shows in what I do in senior care.
Right. And then all of a sudden you came across this technology that they were using in other parts of the world called the Care Bidet.
Yes.
And you decided you need to bring this to the United States because it was going to revolutionize the care industry, as so much technology can do. Technology can either hurt or help. And
Yes.
when it's the right one, you know it and you become very passionate about it. This is not the first piece of senior living technology or aging in place at home technology to come about, and it won't be the last. But man, this is pretty amazing. So
I think so. I honestly
Yeah.
think so. I'm putting a lot of time and effort into this, and my gosh, it is something I would have loved for my mother.
Right.
And and she missed the opportunity, or I wasn't quick enough, or whatever it was, but she didn't benefit from this, but hundreds of thousands of people can now.
That's right. So tell everyone a little bit about what it is, and then we're going to talk about how it can be reduce hospital admissions.
Oh, yes. And that's such an important topic. So it's a high quality device. It attaches to the patient between their legs. It deals with feces and urine, immediately taking away the waste from the body. Then it applies a warm water bidet to clean up that region immediately afterwards, then sucks that away. And then it provides warm air to dry that region. So it can be worn up to 24/7 by the patient. It's very comfortable. I have used it myself every which way. And it's a very pleasant experience. It's very comfortable to have next to your body. And it also includes a motion control wrap for those patients that might literally need it 24/7, which attaches the body, holds the device in place. You can even reposition the client while wearing the device, so you're not getting pressure sores on one side or another. In fact, it comes with its own repositioning cushions, so you've got a whole protocol of repositioning that goes in line with a 24/7 bed-bound client.
Right.
And the dignity of someone being able to go whenever they need to go, not having to ask to be changed. The caregivers don't have to be dealing with the soiled diapers, which is not only unpleasant, it's very time consuming. It's a transmission vector for diseases. We've been talking about all these diseases, especially intestinal diseases right now. The soiled diapers being left there can cause UTIs, they can cause bed sores, and these are all the things we're going to talk about readmissions, because boy, that's a big waste in healthcare.
It is. You know, it's because it's seniors often don't even know they have a UTI, and so it goes on for longer, and it doesn't just take one dose of antibiotics. And then I can't imagine how much easier and safer it is for everyone in mind if someone has MRSA or C. diff in terms of reducing the waste. And putting it where it belongs in the sewer, you know, versus in these red bags, which can cost the hospital so much, as you mentioned before. So how are we going to reduce readmissions?
Well, first of all, as we've already alluded to, UTIs is a big cause of readmissions.
Right.
Diaper care is very likely to cause UTI. I've read figures between 20 to 30% of people are going to get UTIs even in short-term diaper care. And we can virtually eliminate that with this device. We eliminate it because the waste is cleaned away from the body and they are cleaned instantly rather than wet diapers staying in contact with the skin and reaffecting through the urethra. So it makes a big difference to UTIs. In fact, we don't have formal studies, but we have a lot of indications from Asia that the incidence of UTIs is massively reduced. Wow. And similarly with pressure sores, pressure sores are a nightmare to treat. Any wound care person will give you horror stories. Often, and people find this tough to believe, you've got a bad pressure sore, antibiotics aren't even going to clear it. So I have seen patients literally with parts cut out of their buttocks because they could not cure the pressure sore. So we were resorting to medieval type medicine, literally cutting away infected parts of the body. And we can avoid that. We avoid it because we're cleaning them up. Wet skin is a tremendous vector to start pressure sores and septicemia and all kinds of other infections, but I'm focusing on pressure sores. Right. Wet skin and pressure equals pressure sores. Eventually. Right. 100%. You know, if you let that situation get bad enough, it will cause it. We have repositioning protocols with this. We even have its own cushions. The patient can be repositioned while in this device. And the great thing is they are never sitting wet. The waste is cleaned away straight away. They're cleaned with warm water afterwards and then blow dried. Their skin is kept dry, clean, and the waste is immediately taken away from them.
I can't tell you that if a senior or anybody in the hospital that is wearing adult diapers and waiting for the caregiver to come and change them, they can sometimes wait hours, and it's pathetic. And so you're sitting in your own feces, and you can't move, you can't get out of bed, and if they heard or saw your video, they'd be like, why isn't it in every hospital in America? Why isn't it in every rehab in America? Because it really should be.
That's absolutely how I feel, Amy. I couldn't agree with you more. And now in this day and age, we're getting the massive increase in C. diff, in MRSA, and now this emerging Shigella intestinal. And the waste, just the cost of dealing with the waste coming out of those unfortunate patients that have these infections. We're talking red bag medical disposal of their diapers. And that's $20 to $30 per bag. That's a lot of money. You can fill a bag with just a day's worth of diapers and bed pads and things like that. And you've got to do it with those hyperinfectious diseases. These are diseases that cannot be treated with antibiotics. We have exhausted our supply of our different types of antibiotics, and then they're practically immune to those now.
Right.
So
and
it's
the same thing.
Incredibly important what we do with this waste. Incredibly important.
it's amazing. And you think about how all that stuff's sitting in landfills, and that's not where it belongs.
Well, hopefully not in diagnosed cases. They're disposing of that properly, but in undiagnosed cases, of which there's probably high incidence out there,
Yeah.
that waste is then sitting in landfills, can reinfect animals, goodness knows what it can do. And it's just horrible idea. All that paper being wasted as well. I mean, just piles of it. I mean, just so much. But it's not only in those areas where we're reducing readmissions, we're also saving money using this device.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Hospitals would probably think, hey, if we would give everyone a little bidet, then it's going to cost us so much money. But that's not the case.
No, it's saving you money.
Exactly.
We've estimated, and I will personalize this cost saving with any institution. I will come in and analyze what you think is the times you spend time changing diapers. On average, we're seeing at least $20 over the cost of the machine. So you're saving the machine, you're covering the cost of the machine, plus saving an additional $20 a day at least.
Wow.
Using this device while improving readmissions, while dealing with the infections, reducing waste. I mean, I don't see why this shouldn't be everywhere. And this is my dream. This is what I'm working so hard for. But it's not even just waste disposal. It's the saving of time of caregivers, the workers' comp on caregivers, of them hurting their back, changing diapers, or slipping on urine that's got on the floor. I've seen those cases. I've seen caregivers slip on urine.
One case will pay for more than one machine.
It would pay for awards worth of machines.
Exactly.
One did slip and fall.
Yep. You say one of those a year, you can have a whole ward, have this entire thing for every patient in the ward. And
but you don't even
caregivers will thank you, because the worst part of their job is probably cleaning up after someone's diaper.
Yeah, and it's everyone's least favorite task. But guess what? Now caregivers can actually provide care rather than changing diapers. I've seen many caregivers I've talked to about when they worked in institutions like hospitals, SNFs. That's all they do.
Right.
The 20
room to room, there's a whole rotation every so many, and then there's still people waiting. They're like sitting there in wet soiled diapers, and they can't get to them in time.
Incubating that UTIs, the bed sores. And it's not from lack of trying from the caregivers. They're working as hard as they possibly can.
And since COVID, there's so few of them. There's so many that have been burnt out, and they don't get the thanks that they deserve for what they do. So that this would actually help them as well and motivate them, as well as give the patient dignity. So
I believe so, Amy. I think this will fundamentally make many solid improvements in healthcare, especially in senior care, who are the predominant users of this type of device. And we've seen that. We've already seen that in Asia. Why don't we have these cost savings here? Well, now we've got this opportunity, and I'm fanatical about trying to make this happen.
Yeah, we got to get it out to all the hospitals. Well, that's amazing, and I can't wait to have you on again.
Thank you.
And so thanks again for coming on. Is there any other last words you want to talk about for readmissions before we wrap up for this one?
Well, it's not just about the readmissions. It's also about the dignity of the patient, the increased dignity. And guess what? That's also going to manifest itself as increased patient satisfaction. And if people are happy, both the caregivers and the patient, overall, your care is going to improve in so many other ways. Yeah. So it's not even the direct savings that are important. It's the overall feeling of well-being, which is ultimately what we should be creating in a healthcare system. Right. And I think this is an important component to that, and I'm absolutely passionate about talking about it and getting it out there.
Oh, I am too. Again, this has been Aging Maven Aficionado, Amy K. Gaskin at Ask Amy About Aging, and we were talking with Anthony Ford of How's Grandma about the care bidet. Thanks again, and I look forward to having you on again, Anthony.
Oh, thank you so much, Amy. Absolute pleasure, and I can't wait as well.
Have a great day.
Thank you.